Russia and China have formally agreed to operationalize the Northern Sea Route, a faster Arctic trade corridor that challenges the dominance of the Suez Canal. The deal was signed on 14 October 2025 in Harbin, China, and marks a strategic pivot in global shipping. The Northern Sea Route stretches along Russia's Arctic coast from the Kara Sea to the Bering Strait. It offers a 40% shorter path between East Asia and Northern Europe compared to the traditional Suez Canal route. To understand the scale of this shift, let's take St. Petersburg port in Russia and Shanghai port in China as an example. The traditional route via the Suez Canal covers approximately 20,000 kilometers, while the Northern Sea Route or NSR reduces the distance to around 12,800 kilometers. At an average cruising speed for cargo vessels, this means a ship would take roughly 35 to 40 days to complete the journey via the Suez Canal, but only 18 to 22 days via the Northern Sea Route. This dramatic reduction in both distance and time is what makes the NSR such a strategic game changer in global shipping. On 13th October 2025, the first container ship from Ningbo, China arrived in Felixstowe, UK via the NSR, cutting transit time by nearly half. At the second meeting of the Russia-China NSR subcommission in Harbin, Rosatom and China's Ministry of Transportation approved a joint action plan to scale up Arctic shipping. The goal, 20 million tons of cargo annually by 2030. The Arctic harsh climate poses a formidable challenge. To ensure year-round operability, Russia and China are deploying nuclear-powered icebreakers operated by Rosatom to clear frozen passages. Arctic-class container vessels are designed for extreme conditions, joint meteorological and navigation systems for real-time route optimization, crew training programs to handle polar logistics. Russia's decades-long Arctic infrastructure and China's polar Silk Road ambitions make this collaboration technically feasible, albeit expensive. Russia has invited India to participate in the NSR corridor, recognizing its growing maritime clout. However, for India, the NSR presents a strategic conundrum. India profits from transshipment hubs like Mundra, which thrive on Suez-bound traffic. The NSR bypasses India's maritime sphere, potentially shifting trade away from South Asia. India lacks Arctic-ready infrastructure and vessels, making participation costly and logistically complex. Even if India joins, it risks becoming a junior partner in the Russia-China-led framework, with limited influence and over-route governance. The Northern Sea Route offers a significantly shorter maritime path, which in turn reduces the carbon footprint, lowers fuel consumption, decreases emissions, and yields financial savings. For a typical Asia-Europe container voyage, the Suez route costs $1.2 to $1.5 million. The NSR cost with ice services is equivalent to around $900,000 to $1.2 million. Net savings $300,000 to $600,000 per voyage, depending on season and ship class. However, the NSR seasonal accessibility is limited by Arctic ice conditions, requiring nuclear-powered icebreakers to maintain year-round operability. In contrast, the Suez Canal remains navigable throughout the year without such constraints. From a security standpoint, the NSR is relatively safer, as it bypasses volatile regions like the Middle East and piracy-prone zones, such as the Gulf of Aden. Environmentally, the NSR is more efficient per voyage, generating lower emissions due to its shorter distance and reduced fuel consumption. That said, its infrastructure is still emerging, with ongoing investments in Arctic ports, vessels, and navigation systems. The Suez Canal, by comparison, boasts well-established infrastructure and global integration, making it a more predictable and widely used route, despite its longer distance and higher geopolitical risks. The Russia-China Arctic Pact is more than a shipping deal. It's a geopolitical realignment. While the NSR promises speed and efficiency, it also reshapes global trade hierarchies, potentially sidelining countries like India that benefit from the Suez Canal's legacy. India faces a tough choice: join the NSR and adapt, or defend its maritime relevance through strategic investments in Indian Ocean logistics, port modernization, and alternative trade corridors like the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor.